Hello students, hope all is well. In continuation of toxicology, today we shall learn other types of pesticides. Rodents are small mammals with large, sharp frontal teeth. It includes the examples of rats and mice and even rabbits. After the category of insects, the pest insects actually, it is these rodents which will damage the crop yield enormously in the agricultural fields. It includes the menace of rats and mice. Besides the crop damage, they transmit the disease and cause ecological damage. So, the poison or toxicants are used to kill these rodents in agricultural fields. These poisons are together called as rodenticides or rat poison or rat baits. Rodents are very intelligent mammals. They have specific feeding habits, so are difficult to kill by using rat poisons. Few rats visits and tastes the feed, comes back to its burrow. They wait for few hours in their burrow to check their physiology. If the body is with normal physiology without any disturbance after the process of feeding, then they visit the second time the same feed, allowing others also to visit the same. Hence, they destroy the crops and vegetations by feeding them. On the other hand, if they find some disturbance in their physiology, then this affected rat blocks the way for the feed so that no others of the group could visit this feed. Because of the strange or peculiar feeding method in these intelligent rodents, it is very difficult to kill by using rodenticides. Hence, the scientists, after thorough study and investigation, developed single feed bait, and this rodenticide what they have developed is tasteless, odorless, lethal at lower concentrations, showing delayed as adverse effects. All the rodenticides are generally anticoagulants. They induce death of rodents after few weeks of feeding the rat poison. I mean to say, the effect of rodenticide is very slow but very effective. The rodenticides blocks the vitamin K cycle of the organism, thus the production of blood clotting factors get stopped in the organisms. There is another function of rodenticides, that is, it increases the rate of blood flow, causing internal bleeding in capillaries too. Now, bleeding and no clotting, two processes takes place together, causing collapse of rodents, and this condition is called as hypovolemic circulatory shock. Such rodents suffer from anemia and die slowly and calmly. It includes the examples of warfarins, pindon, coumarins, diphenocum, etc. Rodenticides are classified into two categories. This is based on the concentration of rodenticides and their effect. Number one is first generation rodenticides. Number two is second generation rodenticides. The first generation type of rodenticides are developed between 1940s and 1950s. These rodenticides disrupts the normal blood clotting, making uncontrolled bleeding or hemorrhaging in the rats and mice. Example for first generation rodenticides is warfarins and chlorofazanone. The second generation rodenticides are more potent and efficient than the first generation type. They are very effective with small doses, hence are also called as super warfarins. It includes the example of difenacum and bromodiolone, showing the rodenticide effect. The next type of pesticides that we shall understand is fungicides. A fungicide is a specific type of pesticide that controls fungal disease or inhibit the growth of fungi or even their spores on plants as well as animals. Generally, fungi attacks plants and induce diseases in leaves and stems, that is the aerial parts. Thus, photosynthesis and conduction processes are affected, leading to the serious damage in the yield. So is the need of fungicides. Fungicides kill fungi by damaging their cell membranes, inactivating their enzymes, interfering with their respiratory process and other metabolic activities. Examples of fungicides are phosphatyl aluminium, thiram, vincoxulin, dodine, dithiocarbamate, methyl sodium, copper oxychloride. Based on the usage or application, we have two types of fungicides. Number one is systemic type. Number two is translaminar type. In systemic type, the fungicides are sprayed at the roots or soil. Thus, the fungicides pathway, when we look at, it is along with the water, it enters into the root system, then later into the aerial parts by using their conductive tissues. Example of systemic type of fungicides are benomyl and cyproconazole. In translaminar type, the second type, the fungicides are sprayed on the aerial parts such as leaves and a stem. Such fungicides will slowly move layer by layer into the tissue from outside to the inside parts of the plants. Example for it is vincoxulin. The next type of pesticide we shall understand is herbicide. Herbicide or weedicide includes herbs or weeds. Herbs here are referring to any unwanted plants that have grown along with the wanted plants. These are also called as weeds. Farmers in agricultural fields face the menace of these weeds, and weeds take away the nutrients of the crop plants, thereby decreases the yield or the nutrient content of the crops. Also, to clean the industrial sites, railway paths, embankments of the railways, or to clean up a barren land of weeds, there is the need of these herbicides or weedicides. Herbicides are a type of pesticides on the weeds or unwanted plants. They are active on target or specific weeds, leaving the desired crops unharmed. It includes the example of diclofop, diquat, paraquat, dinoseb, etc. There are 5 types of herbicides. Number 1, selective herbicides. They are specific for specific weeds, thereby It will not affect the wanted or target plants. Number 2, residual herbicides. They are applied to the soil at the time of seeding so that it prevents the growth of the weeds in the next stage. Number 3 is translocated herbicides. They are sprayed on well-grown plants to eradicate the weeds because they are very specific in nature. The fourth type is defoliant herbicides. They cause fall of leaves and leading to the death of weed plants. Number 5 is hormone weed killers or hormone imbalance type. They are sprayed to induce imbalance of growth hormone in weeds, causing the death of the weed plants. Besides the commercial benefits, herbicide shows negative impacts also. It includes, number 1, reduction in food and shelter for birds, affecting the bird diversity. So it affects the bird diversity. Number 2, on human beings, it shows devastating effect. In human beings, as they come as contact poisons and cause skin rashes, gastrointestinal ailments, memory loss, and cancer. Students, till now we have understood variety of pesticides, namely insecticides, fungicides, rodenticides, and herbicides. All these concepts are important for short answer questions of 3 and 5 marks. Hope this first part of toxicology is clear to you. Now, we shall understand toxicology related to heavy metals. Metals with high atomic weight are called heavy metals. Some of the heavy metals are required to the body in traces. Example, copper in hemocyanin, iron in hemoglobin, cobalt in vitamin B12, etc. Similarly, other essential heavy metals includes aluminium, cadmium, nickel, zinc, magnesium, manganese, etc. The concentration of these heavy metals in our body should be between the range of 0.5 to 1 ppm. Anything more than this 1 ppm range causes toxicity of heavy metals in the human body. Sources of heavy metals generally varies amongst the heavy metals. Now, we shall understand the toxicity of heavy metal type is lead toxicity. Lead toxicity is also called plumbism or satanism. Lead is widely used in the preparation of radiation shields, nuclear reactors, paints, batteries, cable covers, and sound absorbers. The standard lead levels are 25 μg per dl of blood in adults. Any concentration more than this standard range leads to lead poisoning or lead toxicity. The clinical symptoms or detrimental effects of lead toxicity are as follows. Number 1, insomnia refers to loss of sleep, cognitive deficits, loss of memorial activities or activities related to the memory, renal failure or kidney failure, reproductive problems, depression, unusual taste in the mouth, hyperaggressive behavior, referring to quick angerness, hemolysis, that is breakdown of the blood cells, and anemia, slurring of speech, loss of oxyhemoglobin in skin leading to paleness. This condition is called lead hue. There is also a blue line all along the gums and teeth, which is called as the Burton's line. The top figure or the picture shows the condition of lead hue, where the skin gets pale in color. The down diagram, the picture refers to the Burton's line, which is seen between the gum and the teeth structures, which is a characteristic feature of the lead toxicity. They do cause carcinogenic effects in fishes, alters learning abilities in birds and mammals, inhibits the growth of fishes and amphibians. Coming on to the concept of diagnosis and treatment. It includes samples of blood, urine, and fecal tests are done in relation to the diagnosis process. Treatment process includes oral or intravenous injection of chelating agents such as DMPS. DMPS stands for 2,3-dimercaptose-1-propane sulfonic acid, which is commonly called as unithiol. This is also referred as chelation therapy. Students, remember, when this chemical of DMPS enters into the person having lead toxicity in them, will allow all the lead molecules attaches to this DMPS and comes out either through the urine or through the fecal matter. So this is exactly, we call it as chelation therapy. The second recommended therapy is dietary therapy. Dietary recommendation includes eating of food which is rich with the antioxidants, then magnesium rich food, food rich with omega-3 fatty acids. So these are all the dietary components which helps in bringing down the lead toxicity in the affected individuals, and this is called dietary therapy. The next heavy metal toxicity is mercury toxicity. It is also called as mercury poisoning or hydrargyria. Mercury is commonly used in dental amalgams, as what you see in the picture here, then used in thermometers, barometers, PVC conductions, etc. Any concentration more than 0.8 ppm per dl of blood will lead to the mercury toxicity in the individuals. The clinical symptoms of mercury poisoning are as follows. It leads to the damage of brain, kidney and lungs. It causes acrodynia or pink disease. It is a disease seen in children enmarked by pain and swelling in fingers and toes, and they appear as pink color on cheeks as well as nose tips. It also leads to Hunter-Russell syndrome. In this case, the affected individuals suffer from visual constriction, that is a problem with the vision, impaired hearing and speech, problem with the hearing as well as speech. The next symptom is Minamata disease. It is a neurological syndrome. It includes ataxia, condition wherein there is lack of coordination in the mind. The next clinical symptom is Young's syndrome. It is seen in the male population or affected male population, where they show low sperm count and branchiectasis. Branchiectasis is a condition with lung and bronchi showing hardening of their wall and widening of their size. The next symptom is paraesthesia. It's a condition wherein an abnormal burning and pricking sensation along with the numbness is seen at foot and sole region. In addition to all the symptoms, they also suffer from sleeplessness, sore gums, loss of appetite, reproductive problems such as gonadal atresia, where the size of gonads decreases, aphasia, condition where they will not have the sensation of uh, eating, that is loss of appetite otherwise, and brain lesions. The diagnosis and treatment is as similar to that of the lead toxicity. Blood, urine, and fecal tests are seen in the diagnosis process. Treatment includes chelation therapy with the help of DMPS, and dietary therapy includes intake of the food rich with the antioxidants, magnesium, salts, and omega-3 essential fatty acids. The next type of heavy metal toxicity is cadmium toxicity. Cadmium is an extremely toxic metal commonly used in electroplating, preparation of control rods in nuclear reactors, cadmium nickel batteries, shipyards, etc. The normal range permissible limit is 1 μg per dl of blood. Anything more than this 1 μg per dl of blood will lead to cadmium poisoning. The major clinical symptoms or detrimental effects in humans includes number 1, ittai disease. It is also commonly called as ouch disease, wherein the affected individuals will suffer from the softening of bones, leading to pain in joints and renal failure. And this pains will make them to produce the sighing effect of ouch and ouch, which is in Japanese language called ittai. Hence, the disease is called ittai disease. And this Japanese will show maximum or a greater rate of this variety of disease. The next symptom is cadmium blues, a condition in which chillness, fever, and muscular pain is noticed. The next symptom is pneumonitis, wherein the infection of lungs followed by damage of mucous lining is seen in the affected individuals. Here is a picture that shows deformed bones or softening of bones in the affected individuals. The other detrimental effects are osteomalacia. It is a condition where softening of bone is seen. Osteoporosis. So osteoporosis in which density of bone is totally lost. Rheumatoid arthritis in which swelling and pain in joints are generally noticed. High acidity of blood, the condition is called hyperuricemia. Hyperchloremia, high levels of chlorine ions are seen in their blood. Anosmia, condition wherein loss of sensation of smell it is noticed in the affected individuals. In addition to these symptoms, we can also notice irritation in nose, throat, dryness, headache, dizziness, damage to the liver and kidneys generally. Diagnosis is done by the test of blood, urine, and fecal samples. The treatment includes the same two therapies. Number one, chelation therapy with the help of DMPS usage. Dietary therapy, it includes diet rich with the antioxidants as well as vitamin D to strengthen their weakened bones. The next type of heavy metal toxicity is arsenic poisoning or arsenic toxicity. Arsenic is a heavy metal used in the process of bronzing of alloys, preparation of wood preservatives, paints, semiconductors, and solar cells. The admissible range is 1.5 to 2.5 μg per dl of blood. Anything more than this range leads to arsenic toxicity. The clinical symptoms of arsenic toxicity includes leukonychia, paleness of nail pigments, arsenicosis, condition wherein you can find lesions on the skin. In this particular slide, the top picture shows leukonychia. When you closely observe, the nails have paleness of the pigment. And the second picture shows the lesions on the skin, relates to arsenicosis. In addition to this, they suffer from hematuria. It includes the traces of blood is noticed in their urine, hair loss, cramping of muscles, gastric aches, postmenopausal problems, dysfunction of vital organs such as kidney, liver, lungs, heart, etc. In severe cases, it can also cause cancer. The diagnosis and treatment. Diagnosis includes testing of the samples of urine, blood, and fecal matter. Treatment includes the chelation therapy by using DMPS, dietary therapy by using diet rich with the antioxidant oxidant rich food, and supplements of potassium is advised. Students, with this we are completing heavy metal toxicity also. This topics that we have understood till now includes rodenticides, herbicides, and fungicides, which could be asked for 3 or 5 marks. The concept of heavy metal toxicity, each of it could be asked for 5 marks, or all heavy metals together could be asked for 10 marks. Thank you, students.